and market leader for our supply side portfolio here at Informa. We produce the Supply Side East Trade Show, the Supply Side West and Food Ingredients North America Trade Show, as well as our media brands, Natural Products Insider and Food and Beverage Insider. Of course, we also produce Supply Side Network 365. Welcome and thanks for joining us. Today, we're joined by a couple of my colleagues from our Nutrition Business Journal brand. Hopefully, you're already familiar with Nutrition Business Journal, but if not, NBJ, as it's often called, was founded in 1996 with the mission to provide original research and insights so people in our industry can make better decisions for their businesses. It is the go-to source for in-depth industry data, trends, analysis, and insights. NBJ conducts original research and produces 11 monthly issues, with each issue focusing on a key area of industry intelligence, such as supply chain, condition-specific categories, finance, etc. NBJ also produces deep dive reports on specific topics like herbs and botanicals, the practitioner market, sales channels, etc. Today, though, we're going to be discussing the new 2023 NBJ report on sports nutrition and weight management. This is a 160-page report. It includes more than 100 proprietary data charts and the accompanying in-depth analysis by our NBJ experts. These data cover market size, growth, trends, and projections for the sports nutrition, weight management, hydration, energy, endurance, and protein products, and more. The report also includes in-depth profiles of companies in the market with information about their annual sales, their distribution channels, their product categories, etc. All of this, like I said, is just to help you better understand the trends and the outlook for this sports nutrition and weight management market. Of course, the full report is available for you to purchase, and for those of you attending today, we will be offering a significant discount off the price of the report if you want to get it. But joining me today to discuss this report are two of the leaders from Nutrition Business Journal. We have Erica Kraft and Rick Polito. Erica is an industry analyst at NBJ and is passionate about marketing analytics and research with a focus on the health and wellness industry. Rick is an editor-in-chief at Nutrition Business Journal and writes about the trends, deals, and developments in the natural and nutrition industry, always looking for the little companies coming up and the big money coming in. So Erica, Rick, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and start with an overview of some of the data that you'll find in this NBJ report, and then we'll dive into a little bit of discussion of what it all means. At any time during today's live program, please feel free to submit your questions using the Q&A function on your screen, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. But right now, let's dive in. Erica, I'm going to throw it over to you, and the stage is yours.
Perfect. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Great intro as always. And hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Definitely excited to be here to present NBJ data and insights on the sports nutrition and weight management report and industry. And like John said, we're offering a 20% discount on the report today. So I'll be showing that code towards the end, so don't worry. It equals to about $800 off the total price. So pretty good deal for you guys. Another little quick intro before I get into some of the slides. I'm Erica Kraft, like John mentioned, NBJ's industry analyst. For those of you who have not attended one of these webcasts before, might be unfamiliar, we like to start off by explaining what NBJ is. It stands for Nutrition Business Journal, and we are one of the experts in tracking and reporting on the nutrition industry. We do market sizing, growth trend data globally with deep insights into the US market. Includes what, where, why, and how people are buying. And then also, like John said, we do extensive commentary and editorial pieces and monthly journal issues and annual market intelligence reports. So all the data today is going to be coming from the Sports Nutrition and Weight Management Report, which was published about a month ago in March, so pretty recent. It includes market sizing, consumer survey research, those company profiles John mentioned with some of the key players in the space, like BellRing Brands, Nestle, Simply Good Foods, Glanbia, and then some. So as one of the analysts on the NBJ team, I help my colleague Claire Morton manage some of NBJ's data modeling as well as creating our consumer surveys. So I want to note that all the data that I'm covering today is specifically on the US market. So I'm going to go over everything I just mentioned, and then afterwards I'll bring in Rick for some more discussion on the topic. And I will go to this slide. I have our contact info here if anyone has any questions on what I've presented today or other data we might have. So with that, I will get started. So going to start off by showing a market overview chart that shows both historic and forecasted sales and growth for the overall supplement industry. So we like to start off by showing the entire industry as a whole. These estimates are from our Supplement Market Economy Update report that published back in January of this year. And this was the first time MBJ has done something like this, meaning we did a mid-year update in, our mid-year point for updating our modeling and numbers at least. So given the uncertainty of the economy and the supplement industry, we felt it was really what the market needed, to provide that insight. So with that, MBJ predicts the most current estimate of growth in the overall supplement industry for 2022 is 1.8%, with 2.2% projected for 2023. While the significant drop accounts for some of the market correction from the COVID boost we saw in 2020 and 2021, we also saw many declines in the industry given the economic downturn and inflation in 2022. So now with that background information, we can start defining the sports nutrition and weight management industry, which we're here to talk about today. So MBJ combines both sports nutrition supplements and weight management or meal supplements because there tends to be some overlap between the two. Now we distinguish the difference on how the product is positioned in the market. So for example, the question we get most, so I want to go ahead and address now, General Performance Protein Powder would be considered a sports nutrition supplement. Only time it would be considered a meal supplement is if it's directly positioned to help someone with weight loss or help manage their weight. So in these slides, I'm going to dive into our market sizing and then end with some key trends and insights we found in our research with a slide on consumer data as well. So here we have estimated sales and growth for the combined sports nutrition weight management industry. Category saw a remarkable growth in 2021 at 21.6%. So, this accounts for being able to go to the gym again in a post-COVID world and, also driven by the surge back into general health and wellness. And in 2022, MBJ estimates the sports industry continued at double-digit growth at 10.6%. So, we have overall industry growth at that 1.8% and then sports all the way up at 10.6%. So in 2022, the two categories that did best in the overall supplement industry were both sports nutrition and weight management supplements. And we can clearly see that being played out here. So now I want to transition into reviewing the different categories within the industry, the sports industry. This chart showcases market share of each category within the almost $63 billion industry for 2022 specifically. And I want to note something that makes this report special this year. Starting in 2022, MBJ broke out sports hydration and energy beverage categories into two separate groups. So now we're able to have market sizing that in previous reporting was historically combined. So we see that the biggest category in terms of market share in 2022 is sports energy beverages, making up about 40.5% of the market, while hydration comes in as the second largest chunk at 24.2%. So combined categories make up most of it at about 65%, and each are continuing to gain market share and continuing to grow into 2026. And on the topic of hydration and energy, in this slide, I have sales and growth for the combined two categories. While we do have that individual category data, you'll have to look further into the report to see how each is performing individually. But in 2022, the combined categories saw estimated growth of about 12.3%. And looking forward to 2023 and beyond, MBJ predicts growth to hover between 10 and 12%. And with all the innovation that was showcased at Expo West this year and even last year, I'm personally really looking forward to seeing how the category continues to grow and how companies will continue to innovate to consumer interests and preferences. And here's the last market sizing chart before we get into some consumer data. So I made this chart specifically for today's discussion so we could see channel level data in a more visually pleasing way. I'm very visual, so I always appreciate it. Each line represents the top sales channels we track at MBJ. For the entire sports nutrition and weight management industry, we see that up until about 2020, e-commerce was the main driving channel, e-commerce being that teal line there. And then since about 2021, though, mass market remains the highest growing channel, represented by that light blue turquoise line there. And also keeping in mind that in 2022, mass market made up about 74% of the market. So looking into the future, MBJ predicts that e-commerce and mass market will go head to head in competition for highest growing category in the sports industry. Last but certainly not least, my favorite part is a slide on the consumer survey data that we created specifically for this report. So another special thing about the report, this is the first sports report that we've included a consumer survey portion. So in this survey, we asked frequent sports nutrition users, meaning consumers who use nutrition products, sports nutrition products, at least 3 times a week or more. And for this question specifically, it was those who buy protein products, so bars, powders, beverages. And we asked them what attributes they look for most when buying a protein product. And that highest ranked attribute was highest protein content, followed by no added sugar, and then organic ranking third. And I really felt this chart was particularly interesting because it gives us insight into, what sports nutrition consumers are really looking for when choosing their products, and particularly valuable for brands that are looking to find out what consumers prefer, especially when there's so many products and brands to choose from nowadays. So that about rounds up all of the data I'm going to be presenting here today. So if you're interested in seeing some more market sizing and consumer research behind sports nutrition and weight management market, here's the code again that gives you a 20% discount on the report. And it expires in just a few days, so make sure to get your purchase in before then. But if you need any more buying details, I've listed my colleagues' contact info here, Cindy and Ashley, who would love to assist with anything you might need. And thank you so much again for everyone being here today. I know we've got some great discussion coming up ahead with John and Rick. So with that, let's get into it, you guys.
All right. Thank you, Erica. Always appreciate all the data. And there is so much more behind that. This is a great snapshot of what's in there. But there, like I said, 160 pages, over 100 proprietary data charts and all the company profiles. But let's bring Rick in. Rick, how you doing?
Hey, John, I'm doing really well.
All right.
Talk about this. It's one of my favorite reports. Sports nutrition, weight management. It's all about the aspiration, how we're going to get, better at something or improve. And everybody's got that with their sights, so it makes it a fun one to talk about. Kind of personal for all of us.
What stands out to you, Rick? I mean, obviously, Erica shared some great data. You're familiar with, both of you familiar with all the data that's in this great report. But what are some of the things that jump out to you?
I think the thing that stands out, and this is especially starting last year going into this year, is how important channel is for these categories. We saw some drawback, not a lot, in 2020 when brick and mortar was suffering and the gyms were closed. And then we saw this tremendous growth the next year when that all opened up, which tells us just how important, that is. A lot of that's, keyed in on what we do with sports hydration and energy beverages. We're apparently a very thirsty country with, low energy, because that's a massive market. And we don't always, a lot of people don't think about this as a supplement, but it's included in our estimates here. We're talking about $40 billion of business every year. People spend more money on, Gatorade and the like than they do going to the movies. And I don't know if everybody realizes that. And that is so dependent on the mass market channel. I've said this before, and I'm a cyclist. How many of the times I bought Gatorade, did that happen in a 7-Eleven or certain store like that? It wasn't like I ordered it at home or bought a crate. I was thirsty and I was out and I bought it. And I think the trend towards, that's what makes mass market so important, makes channels so important in this, is that sort of opportunity thing. But also, John, you've been around this industry long enough. It was kind of a big deal when we saw, the tubs of protein make it from the weight room into the aisles at Kroger. But now you can go into Kroger or Target and buy pre-workout powders. And those were just sort of unknown to everybody. And so that's there in mass market. And at the same time, when we're talking about channels, it's sort of a stall, and we're seeing this across the industry for e-commerce. That rapid growth has kind of come out, and I don't know exactly what that is, but and that's not all, sports hydration and energy. There's other things in there like the pre-workout powders and everything else that is available. And at the same time, we see natural and specialty, which kind of grew this industry originally, really not having a great time. It suffered even during the pandemic, and that's a lot about the GNC effect. If you're already at the grocery store and you can pick up your, mass market and pick up your pre-workout, you're going to do it there, and you're not waiting at home for it when you order it. So I think the fact that channel is so important, that stands out to me. I would also talk a little bit about weight management. Now, weight management pills have been on this decline for a long time. I think there's like frustration in the industry. Back when we lost ephedra in the mid 2000s, that was calamitous for it, and it's been on the decline ever since. We saw a little blip up in 2021 when everybody got off the couch and figured out that sweatpants and slacks fit differently. But it's back down to its decline. And I think I've been thinking about this a lot. Everybody's talking about the Ozempic revolution in Hollywood. It's everybody showed up 10 pounds lighter for the Academy Awards. And that the innovation that's going on in pharmaceuticals is going to be really detrimental, I think, to the weight management category in supplements. There was a good New Yorker story recently, and this stuff might get covered by insurance soon. And if people get insurance and getting guaranteed weight loss, or with maybe fewer side effects than we're seeing in Ozempic, as I said, there's a lot in the pipeline right now. I think that could really hurt weight management. So those are a couple things. It's all about channels, and then this weight management slice that I think all of us pretty much have an interest, especially get a little bit older, start worrying about that stuff.
Yeah, on the Erica mentioned the innovation at Expo West and throughout the industry, particularly in this category of the beverages and the hydration and all of that. We think about Gatorade, obviously, that's like the iconic brand, and the other ones that are in the mass market. Those brands continue to innovate. You see the higher electrolyte versions and the lower sugar versions and all that. But I noticed that too at Expo West around particularly hydration, all kinds of stuff going on there, whether it's some of it's in a liquid ready to drink form. Some of it was in like the stick packs that you add in, coconut water or powdered coconut water and all this sort of thing. Why is it you think that people are suddenly focused on hydration? Like you said, Gatorade's been around a long time. You go buy a Gatorade, but it seems like it's just front of mind more now. And you hear people talking about how important it is from just a health standpoint to stay hydrated.
Well, I think there's a sort of a liquid IV effect that they probably did some of the marketing that hydration isn't about, performance on the track or wherever. It's about your life being better and you being healthier, which is true. But I think that's gone on to sort of maybe it's office performance, if you're going to feel better. And when we look in our consumer research, which is, a newer piece of the NBJ model to bring in all these consumer research, is people are thinking they're going to lose weight, they're going to be healthier, they're going to have immunity. And they're given a lot of attributes to hydration that we didn't think about before. It was, if you're out working out, you need to replace your salts when you're done. And now it's, you're not working out, but you need this hydration because being hydrated is healthier.
Yeah, and to that point on the consumer research, the second most high rated reason that people are taking hydration was to strengthen their immune system, just right under, increasing energy levels. But I kind of see that as general health. People are just adding in this extra category and extra product just for their general health. And I just think it's another way to view that. So I think it's also easy and convenience. It's either in a bottle or it's a packet, and it's something that's, easy to wrap your head around too for that general consumer. So the immune system part was interesting to me, though.
Speaking of the consumer, and again, there's so much data in here. I went through the report, and one of the things that a lot of things stood out to me, but one of the things that stood out to me was the most important. NBJ asked, what are the most important factors in your purchasing decision? And there were a bunch of them, all kinds of them. But right at the top, and maybe it's not surprising based on where we are in the economy and all that, but it was price. Quality was up there certainly, and organic and things like that, but price was king. How important is that? A lot of these products, the higher quality products, aren't necessarily inexpensive if you really want the good stuff, but price continues to be a huge issue for consumers, it looks like.
I think it'll be interesting to see how that shows up. Because when we think about supplements, we did some research at the end of 2022, and there were lots lots of people who, they're not going to trade out of, not going to give up on supplements, but they are going to trade down to store brands and the rest. But I think a lot, especially in hydration, is so driven by brand. And as I said at the beginning, when I started talking about that sort of the aspiration, like you're reaching for something with sports nutrition and with hydration, as we said before, and with weight management, and you want the best you can get. It's not a maintenance thing like a vitamin D where you're going to trade down to a store brand. You're looking for what the marketing has done for these brands. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. I don't know if people are going to cut back. Aspiration and looking for that next I'm going to be better is a powerful thing, maybe more powerful than I'm going to be, healthier and live longer. I'm going to look better next week is a big one.
Definitely. Something else that stood out to me, and just jumping around a little bit because, again, there's so much data in this thing. Looking at protein, obviously protein is still super important. You see all kinds of innovation there, the plant-based proteins, and at Expo West, it was everywhere. And it appeared not just in supplements, but of course in food products and plant-based food products and that sort of thing. But something stood out to me in the NBJ report that said that egg and whey protein are still at the top of the category from a sales standpoint versus your rice and your pea protein and your soy protein in the plant-based proteins, the egg and the dairy-based proteins. I thought that was interesting because we hear so much about plant-based, and that's all everybody's talking about in some regards. But egg and whey in that category still seem to be holding on to that number 1 and 2 spot.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was also interesting. But I also feel like, consumers I agree with the plant-based, they're very interested in it, but I think getting back to those whole foods and, choosing those sources over, the combined plant-based, I think also people are just dabbling and trying different things, right? Seeing what works best with their digestion, seeing what works best with the results that they want. And, not all sports nutrition consumers are doing it just to increase muscle weight or to tone their bodies. We saw that in our consumer research too. It's to improve their general health and supplement in protein when they can't get it in on other times of the day. So I really think it's interesting too that it was animal-based came up before plant-based.
And I think that people who are seeking plant-based, who are vegetarian or vegan, have a whole different set of sort of health outcome goals or, values that they're bringing into it that might draw them more towards what we'd consider whole foods in the vegetable realm. And the people who are looking for something that's more packaged good, like a protein powder, those people might just be more, mainstream and less oriented by the same sort of values and goals that as someone who's seeking out a plant-based product would be.
I want to jump over to the questions a little bit. I see a couple of them coming in there. And first, one of our audience members, Lee Resnick, asked several questions that are related to clinical studies and research and appropriate ways to quantify or prove efficacy, the regulations in the U.S. for this category and those sorts of things. And while that's beyond really the scope, I think, for this report, Lee and others, we have resources that can help you with that. We have something within our Informa and New Hope network and supply side family here, one called Market Ready Insights. And that is an entire group that works on these sorts of regulatory compliance, standards, quality things. And then on the other side, sourcing ingredients and all that. I will do a shameless pitch here and suggest that coming to our Supply Side West trade show in the fall this year in Las Vegas, or any of our other ingredient shows around the world, like VitaFoods Europe coming up in a couple of weeks, and the health ingredients and food ingredient shows around the world. That's a great place to look. And then on the regulatory compliance stuff also, we have a media brand called Natural Products Insider, naturalproductsinsider.com, where we've been covering this for 25 plus years. We've got reports and downloads and all kinds of information that you might find useful on some of these questions specific to regulatory and those sorts of things. Another couple of questions came in that I want to jump to. One is, do you see, and this is from Elias Chiatalis, hope I said your name right, I apologize if I did not. Do you see collagen powders as a notable sector within the sports nutrition market? I'm just going to leave it at that and let the two of you jump in on that, because collagen's been quite the category to keep an eye on for several years now. What do you think there?
Yeah, well, we don't have it specifically noted in this sports nutrition report. I still think it's a valuable question. We're in the process right now of updating most of our numbers for the market, so it will be interesting to kind of have that sports nutrition lens on collagen because, right, you have vital proteins and they're specifically gearing it towards that, and it's collagen protein, and then you have collagen only over here, so it's kind of two different. But we don't have it specifically marketed in the sports nutrition market yet. But Rick, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that.
Well, I just say about collagen, and it's one of those things, and John will recall in 2016, 17, it was exploding. Is this another flash in the pan? And here we are going on 7 years or so later, and it's still going strong and it's finding new uses. It was about beauty, then it was about joint, now it's about protein. And people are going to be coming at it for maybe dragging along those sort of things about maybe it's beauty or joint into the protein realm when they're looking for that. So I think there's a lot of different ways for it to appeal. And, as Erica said, we're going to be diving into that closer to track our different protein sources. It'll be interesting to see where it is. But, collagen has got legs longer than I would have thought it would.
There's a lot of good research, obviously, behind it. It's been around for a long time. And even in the food category, you look at the bone broth stuff that's showing up across the category versus just normal broth. I make chicken soup for our family every Monday. It's just kind of a tradition, homemade chicken soup. And I use the bone broth now. It's additional protein and collagen and that sort of thing. It's showing up everywhere for a lot of different uses. And I don't see it going away either. I just see it accelerating. Another question came in: have vegan, vegetarian-friendly products increased or decreased in market share over the last year? Gets back to a little bit of that plant-based, but specifically vegan and vegetarian-friendly products, I assume within this category of sports nutrition and weight management.
Yeah, we don't have that specifically broken out in this report either, but I do think it's interesting to note the labeling on products. And if they're specifically being positioned for, vegan, vegetarian friendly, I personally do think that it has increased in market share over the years. I think that also just all of the different products that are offered in the market. I mean, there's just so many different kinds to choose from. And so I think it's really interesting to see where the innovation goes with that, and also kind of the clean label ingredients. I know that that's what some people look for as well. And I think I saw a sourcing question on there. And if, consumers are paying attention to sourcing, I believe we used that as one of our responses on one of our questions in the consumer survey. And the answer is yes, consumers are looking for it and paying attention to it. I asked my friends and family, are you paying attention to the ingredients? Is it something that matters to you? Do you look for a shorter ingredient list? And, it's kind of a mixed bag of answers. So I do think it'll be interesting to see that develop over the next couple of years, though.
And I think it'll be interesting.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that we haven't talked about this a lot, but the way protein is moved into all the different foods, you can buy pasta and pancakes that have, protein. Everybody's building that up. Protein's front of package in a way it never was before. And I think there's going to be interesting to see where people are looking at for that, because a lot of that's plant-based, and, how it shows up there, could influence all the way across all these, the way we see it in sports nutrition. We're going to see it in the frozen food section too.
We're coming up on our time. A couple more questions. One of them is at a request for a clarification. Can you clarify the size of the total dietary supplement market versus the sports weight management category?
Yeah, so total supplements is around, for 2022, around 60 billion, and then sports is around 63 billion.
And so that's
it's important.
Go ahead.
US, yes, I was going to say it's important to note that we include that, oh my God, big sports hydration energy beverage category in here. So that's why, sports nutrition weight management, looks bigger than the entire supplement industry.
The Gatorade and Powerade effect and all those other brands in that space.
Yeah, Liquid IV at Costco, those giant boxes.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And then again, we're coming up on time. So I'm going to finish with this one. I think this is a great question, and I'll be curious to hear your answer. I'm happy to throw one out too. What is the hottest ingredient market trend at this moment? You're the experts. If you had to pick one, what's the hottest? And I assume, again, we're talking about within this category. That's the assumption I'm making. But what's the hottest ingredient market trend right now?
Yeah, I'm glad that question came up. I will say for the sports nutrition industry, since that is what we're talking about, I think creatine is the hottest trend at this moment. I think a lot of people are buying it. There's a lot of more education, I think, around consumer interest recently. So I would have to say creatine. I'll keep it short and sweet.
Well, I'll talk about it in category terms. It's like we keep talking about it, the sports hydration and energy thing. That's so massive and so big and so much growth added into it. And there seems to be no end in sight at this point. So it's got to be in there. But I would also say creatine's maybe the next ingredient that's going to make that jump from sports more into the mainstream.
Yeah, and I'll throw my take in there, and I'm just going to be more general in this. I think it's this, and it's not a recent shift. It's been going on for a long time, but this movement from the concept of sports nutrition, as you know, the bodybuilder, big tubs of protein in the gym, to just active, healthy lifestyle. People that want to remain active, whether they're young Gen Z and millennials or older like me or whatever, people are really wanting to just be healthy, have a good quality of life. And that's where a lot of these products like the collagens and the hydration and those sorts of things come into play. So I really see that shift kind of dominating here, where we go from a concept of sports nutrition as bodybuilding and performance to a more, lifestyle, active nutrition, just general health approach to these products.
Well, and I think in that is I've said this for years, sports nutrition for a lot of the people is just nutrition. It's not, it's a lot of it's convenience. In 2020, we saw that when the bars and gels market plummeted, $500 million walked out of that category because you weren't running to work and needed something to eat and grabbed your protein bar. But for, we're back to needing that convenience, and it's crawling back up. And I think we see that in ready to drink protein beverages and the rest. This is quick. This is easy. I'm on my way out the door and I grab it. But one of our, I don't have the exact figure in front of me, but one of the surveys is, why do you take these? And the biggest majority was people, I want to feel better and be healthier, not I want to be faster, bigger, or whatever.
Yeah. Yep, totally agree. So, all right, wonderful. Well, we're a little bit past our time. Appreciate you sticking around for a couple minutes over. Thank you very much, Erica and Rick. Great information today, as always. And again, still just a tiny fraction of what all is available in this full NBJ report on sports nutrition and weight management. For those who already subscribe to Nutrition Business Journal and purchase the NBJ reports, you know how big an advantage this gives you in the competitive marketplace. I would encourage others to consider making this small investment to inform your strategies and your decisions. And if you have any questions about this report, other NBJ reports, or an NBJ subscription, please reach out to our colleagues here at Nutrition Business Journal, Cindy Vitascowan and Ashley Patterson. Finally, please consider joining us in an all-star cast of industry leaders and innovators at the NBJ Summit, taking place July 25th through 27th at the beautiful Terranea Resort in Rancho Palo Verde, California. I'll be there. Hope to see you there too. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for your ongoing support and best wishes for your continued success. We hope to see you soon.